Welcome to the Delco Real Agent. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Shannon DiOrio. I am a licensed realtor in Pennsylvania and Delaware, specializing in Delaware County, Chester County, and Newcastle County. If you're thinking about moving to the Delaware Valley, one of the most common questions I get from potential buyers is, I don't know if I want to live in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Delaware. And that's a great question because not one state's better than the other. They're just all a little bit different. So today I want to talk through some of those differences that I see every day working with buyers across the region and how I help them start narrowing down what's the right fit for them. So while I'm licensed in Pennsylvania and Delaware, I'm not licensed in New Jersey, but I do work closely with a few excellent agents in New Jersey. So even if that's the state that ends up being the right fit for you, I can still at least guide you in the right direction. So let's start with Pennsylvania. The Philly burbs in Pennsylvania tend to appeal to buyers that maybe are looking for a little bit of variety. You'll find everything from older homes with a lot of character to brand new construction. You'll find large single homes on large lots that almost have a rural feel to them, all the way to row homes with a very tiny lot and almost having a little bit more of an urban feel to them. You'll find walkable towns, and you'll find areas where you feel like you're a little bit more in the country. Regardless of which town in the Philly suburbs you choose, mostly everything you're going to need will be within a short drive. Some towns like Media and Westchester especially, but there's many more towns that are more walkable. So you're going to be able to walk to the coffee shop, walk to a restaurant, or even walk to the gym. School districts matter a lot in Pennsylvania. And your realtor can't advise you on which school districts are better than others. That could be seen as steering, and it's a very personal decision, right? But people are driven by school districts here. So whether you personally like one better than another, you might be looking for one specific amenity for your kids versus another, maybe sports, maybe academics, whatever it is. It's a very school district driven area where people are making selections based on school districts rather than zip codes alone. The feel of the neighborhood can really depend on just how close you are to the city of Philadelphia. So when you're closer in, typically you're going to find more density, better access to public transportation, more walkable neighborhoods, easier access in and out of the city. Whereas the further out you go, that's when you might start to see a little bit more of a rural feel. So there's a lot of housing and neighborhood varieties in the Philly burbs on the Pennsylvania side, and the property taxes vary quite a bit as well. In some of the towns, the property taxes can certainly be on the higher side, and in many cases, you can get more bang for your buck in the house itself. So sometimes it balances out, but that's just something you need to be aware of, the differences in property taxes when you go town to town. Some towns and school districts have a local earned income tax as well. One other thing that people should be aware of if you're considering moving to Pennsylvania, specifically the Philly burbs, is that a lot of the housing inventory is a little bit older. There's just not as much land left to build on, so we have a lot of older homes to choose from, many of which have been fully updated, but they might still have some of the older bones, so to speak. So the older plumbing, older electric, that's quite common in this area. Something else that's common is damp basements. That's not to say across the board, but it's not that uncommon to occasionally get a little bit of water intrusion in the basement. Just because of our clay soil, we tend to have damp basements. And now moving on to Delaware. Buyers who choose Delaware often do so for simplicity and reduced taxes. So that's a big one. Property taxes tend to be significantly lower in Delaware than they are right across the state line. There's also no sales tax in the state of Delaware, and you don't have to renew your driver's license, your registration, or get your car inspected quite as often as you do in Pennsylvania. So a lot of people move there for that just lower tax cost and simplicity. Typically, the state earned income tax in Delaware is higher than in Pennsylvania, but that oftentimes is more than offset by the reduced property taxes. You also see more planned communities in Delaware, something called a civic association. They're usually not as strict as the typical HOA or condo association, but there will be an annual fee associated with a lot of the neighborhoods throughout northern Wilmington especially. Some of the housing in Delaware tends to skew newer, although in the upper portion of New Castle County, there's not a whole lot of new construction. A lot of the homes were built around mid-century, so you see a lot of split levels, a lot of ranch homes, and some colonials. And you see basements a lot less often than you would in Pennsylvania, and that's just due to such a high water table in Delaware. But the lower in New Castle County you go, so if you go down towards Middletown, Delaware, Townsend, and then even hopping over into Kent County in the Clayton area, you tend to see a lot more new construction because there was just more land available to do it. And some of those areas have been built up a lot more recently, so you're likely to find a lot more new construction. Delaware real estate sales are less school district driven than you'll see in Pennsylvania because Delaware has a choice system, and there's also lots of private schools available as well.
Tell me about the choice system after this. I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently you can like.
We don't have a lot of time left before
okay.
the camera stops. So
Okay.
Later.
A lot of buyers that I work with end up working in the city of Philadelphia, and typically if they're relocating from out of the area, it's because they found employment in the city of Philadelphia. And they may want to look in Delaware because of those cheaper taxes and the simplicity, all of those things I just mentioned. And something that I always warn buyers about is the commute times. So while the commute time might not be so bad in the middle of the day on a winter day, but come summertime, Fridays in the summer, that beach traffic can be pretty horrendous. So that's just something that buyers need to be aware of. Not that I try to discourage it, because Delaware is a beautiful place to live, but it's definitely something that you're going to have to contend with if you're needing to commute to Delaware on Fridays. And finally, we will touch a little bit on New Jersey. So I don't have as much to say about New Jersey because I'm not licensed there. I don't find myself spending a lot of time there, but just being from the area, I can tell you that New Jersey does tend to be very commuter friendly, good access to public transportation, and really strong downtown areas. The property taxes do tend to be on the high side. I've heard some buyers say that they even are a little bit higher in general than on the Pennsylvania side. Some people say they're about equal. Oftentimes you're able to get more bang for your buck though with the housing inventory. So depending where you are in the state, commuting in and out of Philadelphia or even New York City is very common and can also be pretty convenient. You also have that beach traffic, which you don't dare call it beach traffic if you're in New Jersey. If you're in New Jersey, it's called shore traffic. So you would go down the shore versus in Delaware, you go to the beaches. But in any case, if you're thinking about buying a home in Pennsylvania or Delaware, I personally would love to help. And if you're thinking about New Jersey, or maybe you're not sure which of the 3 states because they're so close together, and it's just so easy for people to hop over the state lines, I'm happy to help you. And as I mentioned earlier, I partner with a couple of excellent agents in New Jersey, and I've worked with many buyers that just weren't sure which state they would want to move to. So we kind of all worked together to figure out where they would need to be, and they were able to look at homes in 2 states with me and then 1 state with another agent, and able to find their dream home. So my contact information is below, and if you're thinking of buying or selling anywhere in the Delaware Valley area, I am happy to help. Thank you so much for tuning in.